Hey guys, what's up? It's Rap again. In today's story, a mega entitled neighbor freaks out on me because I bought the land that he desired. One day he puts up a fence around my property and calls the police on me to get me trespassed off my own property. And from there on, it only gets worse. Here is what happened. The title story goes like this. Building my dream home turned into a complete nightmare. It had nothing to do with the money or contractors or any of the other normal stress factors I still had during the process. Nope, the nightmare was my new neighbor that hated me before he had even met me. Let me rewind a little bit first and quickly tell the story of how I got my new property. So I'd been looking for a nice piece of land to get my dream home built. I knew that it would not have everything, obviously, but the most important part was getting a nice piece of land. I ended up in almost a bidding war over this property and finally ended up winning and getting it. What I didn't know the entire time was the person I was fighting over the land with was the man who was gonna be my new neighbor. So this guy wanted to buy the land to expand his property, but was not willing to pay as much as I was, so he did not end up getting it. I learned all this when I went to introduce myself to my future neighbors, and this guy cursed me out and said I stole his land expansion. I never know how to react to people like that, so I kind of just walked away and vowed to never knock on his door again. I understood his frustration after spending months trying to find a good property, but he did not need to act like such an a-hole. With that backstory out of the way, we can skip a couple of months to when we were finally ready to break ground and start building my house. I had to trust the contractors a lot because I couldn't always be there to watch what was going on during construction. My current living situation was 2 hours away and I worked full time. I tried to come as often as I could, but there were big chunks of the process I was just missing. Add on to that me dealing with the normal issues of building a house that I mentioned, and I was completely burnt out. Excitement turned to me wanting the thing built already so I could move in and relax. After a holiday weekend where I did actually just rest, I went back to work Monday morning. Now, usually taking personal calls at my job is a big no-no, but I have a cool boss. He knew about the house being built, and if there was an emergency situation, I could take the call as long as it was not too often. About 2 hours into work, I get a call from the contractor and pick it up. Me, hello? Contractor, we have a little situation here at the worksite. We need you to come down. Me, I'm at work 2 hours away, sorry. Can we deal with it over the phone quickly? Contractor, I don't think so. So the thing is, me and my guys came to the property and there's a fence around the whole thing. Me, what do you mean fence? Contractor, I mean a chain link fence around the entire thing. The front is padlocked and there's a note saying that the owner of the property is not allowing anybody inside. You did not leave me a key or anything, so we are sitting out here. Me, I did not put up any fence. I don't have a key or anything for it. Can't you just break the lock or something? Contractor, look, I don't want to get into any legal trouble for breaking in. If you cannot get down here and open the gate, we are not getting anything done today. I am then confused beyond anything, and I know that I need to get down there and figure things out. Despite how cool he is, my boss was not happy about hearing me needing to leave for the rest of the day and knew I would have a weekend of paperwork on my days off to deal with. I drive the 2 hours to see that there really is a giant fence surrounding my entire property, complete with no trespassing signs and a note saying the owner claims no entry permitted. The contractor left with his crew, but you can be sure I was still charged. I make the admittedly dumb decision to climb over the fence and onto the construction site. Honestly, I cannot even remember why that was a good idea in my head or what my plan was at the time. All I do know is that after looking around for a while, I started getting screamed at by the local police that I was on private property and that I have to get out. I had to awkwardly climb back over the fence where police grabbed me and started questioning me, asking if I could read the no trespassing signs and if I knew I could get arrested. I explained to them that I was the owner and I had no idea how that fence even got put up. That when the construction crew were gone, a random person put up the fence and padlocked it so the house could not get built. They told me that still going over it was a bad idea and I had to file a report and prove it was my property before they would send an officer to legally remove the padlock. To make matters worse, my car was being towed and due to the tow truck policy, once it was hooked up, they would not put it down until I went and paid the fine. After the police left, I saw that neighbor coming towards me and laughing. He told me that I should just surrender the property to him, because if not, he will do a lot worse. He really just admitted to putting up the fence and towing my car, so with my patience done, I started cursing him out like crazy. He had a golf club that I didn't realize he had until he started beating me with it. The guy really was nuts, and I was lucky that somebody must have seen and called the police to come back. He was caught red-handed attacking me and put into handcuffs. I pressed charges for assault and wanted to sue him personally for towing my car and putting up that fence. With how slow the courts go, I still had to prove that I was the owner and get the padlock removed before we could start construction again. Not to mention more time off work and driving down to be at court to give statements and testimony. I liked the land, but if I knew it came with a neighbor assaulting me, I might have passed and looked somewhere else. It turns out that this was not his first arrest for assault, and because of that, his sentence was not gonna be lenient. He was sent to jail, and by the sounds of everything, it was not gonna be his first time going. Also, I won my personal lawsuit against him where he was forced to pay for the car towing and the days of work I was charged where the crew could not access the property. Eventually, my house did finish getting built, and I love it. I moved everything in and met some much more nicer neighbors around me. Nobody else had a problem with me, but I learned that most people had an issue with him. The house is empty now, and I see some people I can only assume at our family come and go once in a while. I guess he owns the house or somebody is paying the mortgage for him because nobody is moving in or out. I can only hope when he gets out he figured messing with me is a bad idea. And yeah, Ripe Stars, if some random douchebag neighbor would build a fence around your private property, what would you have done? Let us know in the comments. The next one is titled Revenge on Neighbor. So this happened a few years ago. We live in a rural area and there's one neighbor who lives about 200 meters further from our house. They have to use our road and front yard in order to get to their house, which we don't mind and allow. Their house is also surrounded by a fence and is very nice in general. Well, the neighbors have a dog that they take for a walk past our house. The dog would often poop on our front yard and they didn't pick it up. My mom got mad and told them, but they would say it's not their dogs but from our dog. Not true, our dog always goes to poop far away from the house near the forest, and we also saw the dog poop and they just walk away. And then we have to clean it up. Well, one time when it happened again, my mom finally had enough. She got the shovel, picked up all the poop she found, walked 200 meters with the shovel and poop, and threw the poop over the fence on their nicely cleaned front yard. In her words, now they have to clean it up. I still laugh every time I remember. And the next one is titled Pay for My Work or GTFO. I am naming the company name because I've had many issues with them and everyone should be warned. So I have to say this first, beware of working for the delivery service Shipped. Today I picked up an order for delivery. It had gone promo, money added on Shipped. It was for delivery in a town that is 15 minutes from the store of purchase. Alright, not too bad for $16, especially since I live within 10 minutes of the town I was delivering to. I take it. I go to the store, receive the groceries, and I am on my merry way. I then send a text to the customer that I'm on my way and will reach them before XYZ time. No response, so I give a quick call. It does a weird thing and ends. Does not even go to voicemail. Whatever, I sent them a text. I get to the house, knock, no answer, leave the bag outside the door and walk away, make it to my car. I then start said car. The woman pokes her head out the porch door as I'm about to leave. You were very lovely, woman on porch, thank you for your kindness, waves me down, looking highly confused. So I, unfortunately, stop the car and get out. The woman asks what this is. Why, your order, ma'am, I say, looking all happy. I didn't order anything, she says. Oh no, did anyone else in the house? Nope. Oh no. So there's a wrong address on the delivery. I've never dealt with this before and I have to leave to catch a movie with friends in 30 minutes. Cue me going door to door at each house on that small street while reaching out to Shipped support and while trying to call the customer again. Does the same weird thing with the phone and I give up on that. I proceed to knock on doors. Nope, nobody's. Alright, Shipped suggestion? Just drive back and return it. No Shipped, I'm a delivery contractor. I'm not a volunteer, nor am I charity. I am hired by you to fulfill deliveries. As far as I'm concerned, I have delivered to the address on file. I am not reaching into my bank account to correct someone else's mistake. For the total extra 30-minute round trip, I will need $10 on top of the initial pay. Thanks gas for being so expensive. No, they say, we will give you $8.10. No, I say. I have plans and now 10, what should have been 30, mind you, minutes that I will now miss. $8.10 will not cover the gas and wear and tear for the extra 30 minutes. I will need no less than $10 or I will leave them on the curb of the noted delivery address, 580 Blanking Street in Dickoff. We'll give you $5 and cannot do any more than that, they say. Wait, I say, $5 on top of the additional $8.10 to make $13.10 on top of what I'm being paid, or just $5? I want everything in writing specifically because I knew Shipt was gonna do exactly what they did next. Oh yes, $13.10, but we cannot do any more. They say, fine, I'm returning it to the store now, I say. So I go to the store, do the whole return process, get in contact with Shipt as they directed me with the requested information, and then I get a message on my phone from Shipt to the effect of, your order has been cancelled and $20.80 issued to your account. What? I contact Shipt and say I'm confused, say it looks as though they were only giving me $5 on top of the original order payment when they said I would be compensated $13.10. I was told, oh, we won't give you any more than $5. Well, but you already said... Is there someone else I can speak to? Nope. $5, take it or leave it. Alright. Fine, don't want me to pay the agreed upon wage? That is a breach of contract, meaning you never actually paid me for this return. So what did I do? I marched right back into the store, asked the worker who had taken the return what she had done with it, snatched the bag up, strode up to a manager, informed them of what happened and told them, since I was not being paid to return the groceries, I would be taking them back to the last place I was contracted and paid to deliver them, 580 Blanking Street in Dickoff. Told him if he wanted to be recompensated for the groceries, he could charge Shipt, as they were not willing to pay to have them returned. I then messaged Shipt from my car informing them of this and gave them 30 minutes. Yep, plans definitely ruined, it is now 2 hours later. To rescind their decision and pay me what they actually agreed to and owed me. Had to reach out 2 separate times because the first girl, despite me being very polite, would not go to anyone else such as management to ask for an exception to this policy, considering they had literally told me they would pay me more. And they actually had the gal to ask if I had taken items I had returned, and all I had to say in response was, did you pay me to return them? Second girl was much more helpful, reached out to her team to see if anything could be done. Shipt still would not be swayed, but I thanked her profusely for at least trying. So in the end they said they would not do any more than $5. I told them, alright, I reject that offer, just pay me for the original delivery because $5.80 is where they will be. You can pay another Shipt shopper $15 to come get them, drove back, it was on my way home and dropped them off and left. I'm not a charity, I don't work for free and I certainly don't pay to work. I'm gonna be messaging ShopRite Corporate directly, along with the New Jersey Labor Board, because this is not the first issue with wages I've had with Shipt, and honestly, ShopRite should seek compensation from them. Have fun paying for the more than $13.10 of groceries that are now rotting on the curb, Shipt. By the way, side note to anyone who may say, you're being entitled, no, I'm not. It's not entitled to expect an agreed upon wage. This is clearly extortion to expect me to work for less than agreed. Imagine you accepted an order from a delivery service, fulfilled that obligation, and suddenly they decided to pay you less than half for that completed order. Or you're working at a job and they suddenly cut your pay without any notice or agreement upon your part. As I explained to them, I never would have returned the groceries for $5 because it was not my mistake, would have returned them no problem if it had been, and I would be paying to return them, plus the missed plans, plus the lost time. So no, I am in no way in the wrong, and I don't care what anyone who thinks otherwise has to say. And the next one is titled Mega Entitled Neighbor. So I live in a building where we have assigned parking spots. They give you a sticker with a number on it. I am number 80 and you park in the spot with that number. It's pretty simple. So I always have guaranteed parking unless they are doing some sort of maintenance on the lot. A while ago, they were redoing the surrounding streets and had to have all the people who live in the area and don't have a parking permit for a space move to other areas, which is obviously inconvenient in a congested urban area, but in theory it has no effect on me. I came home late one night at about 1 AM from a friend's house and there was a car in my spot. Now, the building has a giant sign up to let people know the lot is under contract with a tow company, and I was about to call but noticed the car had a note in the window. Something like, "Don't have this towed, call this number." I called and a few minutes later one of my neighbors who would also have an assigned spot came out. He politely explained that there were no spots on the street, so he offered his girlfriend mine. Which means he parked in his space and then was gentlemanly enough to offer something of someone else to her. I let him know it is my spot, so he would have to move. We had a brief argument about the late hour and how hard it would be for her to find a spot on the street. Not seeing how either of them having trouble finding parking on the street was a me problem, I insisted he move and we went to get the keys and got out of my spot. I ran into him in the hallway a few days later, at which point he looked at me and said, "F you," and I don't think we are gonna be friends. So am I the a-hole for asking him to get out of my spot even if it was 1 AM and all of the surrounding roads were under construction? Comment number 1, not the a-hole. And you are nicer than me for even calling the number. I would have just called the tow company. I'm not tangling with an inconsiderate a-hole at first in the morning. Comment number 2, not the a-hole. I would recommend reporting the incident and his later behavior to your building management. It sounds like this guy might be trouble for you and anyone else who does not bend to his will. He held a grudge for several days and knows where you live and where you park. Just be safe and report it now. Next time let the tow company handle the "don't tow me bro" notes. And yeah, ripe stars, let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do you think that OP is the a-hole or not? And what would you have done in this situation? Would you also have towed the neighbor instantly? Let us know in the comments. The next one is titled New Neighbor Revenge. Several years ago we moved into a small house that was turned into apartments. Overall it was in very good shape, well located and had a basement which was important to me and to the story. After we moved in there was an issue with the sewage and there was water in the basement for 2 weeks. Given the circumstances, I talked to the owner and we agreed he would let us use one of the garages he owns a little further down the street until the situation was fixed free of charge. Unfortunately, the water issue did not get fixed until about a year later. Fortunately for us, this meant the owner just gave up on the garage and let us use it for years to come. All was nice and well until the new neighbors moved in. They seemed very nice at first, which is why we gladly accepted to share the garage so they could park their bikes there. Bikes get stolen often in our town, even with a good pet. Now, this garage had become our basement, housing mostly relics of our lives. Basically junk with emotional value and loads of photo albums. For there to be petty revenge, there needs to be grievance, and grievance there was. Smoking in the stairwell even though it is a non-smoker's building, yelling and banging on the walls at any hour of the day, their poor dog which they terrorize so much, it barks every time it hears a loud noise. Taken individually, none of these would be a problem, but they have won the bad neighbor bingo. About a month after our lovely neighbors moved in, one of them knocked on my door, drunk as hell, telling an incomprehensible tale that went from "someone broke into the garage" to "you know it happened to everyone to have a breakdown. You can't tell me what happened. Why'd you make such a mess in the garage?" A quick inspection of the garage where all my life was spilled out on the floor between what used to be a whiskey bottle of the neighbor's favorite brand and some butts of his cigarettes and his absurd story of a break-in quickly made me understand the man got drunk, rummaged through my stuff and ended up having the breakdown he accused me of. The next day I cleaned out the garage, moved my stuff back to the now dry basement and called the owner. I told him that the new neighbors were using the garage and would be willing to take over the rent that I've been paying all that time. He got the hint and since then they've been paying $100 per month just to put their bikes away. Enjoy! As a cherry on top, I've been banging my cupboard every time I'm up late or early. I get such a thrill from hearing that little dog lose it at ungodly hours, inevitably waking them up. Edit: for anyone concerned about the dog, unfortunately, we have called police already and there is nothing they can do since there is no physical violence. The dog barks at everything, when a toilet flushes, when a bus drives by, when my cat meows if you dare cough or sneeze. My occasional intentional bang won't change that dog's life so much, but it does change mine. And with this, we have reached the end of the video. However, if you cannot get enough of my content, then please don't forget to check out my endless playlist, which has thousands of videos and hours of content. In addition, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell to not miss any of my daily uploads. Thank you so much, and I will see you again tomorrow.